Welcome to Lift, a leadership podcast where we will learn, inspire, and focus together. I'm Carl Warren from Beyond Behaviour. In each episode, we will explore how to learn with purpose, inspire those around us, focus on what matters, and build strong communities together. You will gain insights that are practical and relevant for your own leadership journey. How you going out there, everyone? This podcast today is going to be about how you get buy-in and commitment from your team, from your people. Susie's had a bit of a, scenario situation happening.
Bit of practice,
and we wanted to talk about how you actually do that, how you engage your people.
Yeah, I guess we kind of wanted to paint a scenario because as Carl and I were talking just a few minutes before this, we were just discussing, what are those common issues that happen kind of, regularly, I guess.
Yeah.
And the situation I wanted to unpack is like the frustration that you experience as a leader at times when you need to have a conversation with someone or you speak to somebody and you're generally coming from a place of concern or looking out for that person. So let's use the example of someone who's repeatedly late in your team.
Which is like relatively low level, right? It's not really serious.
Yep.
Just annoying.
It might be continuous.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Just that sort of stuff.
It's not just a one-off or, you know.
Yep.
And so you may have a conversation, you know that you need to have a conversation with the person that you're leading. And you're generally doing it, in my mind, I go two reasons. One, I want to protect that person.
Sure.
Because it's not a good look. And it comes across a particular way.
Yeah.
And you start to see people are aware of what's happening.
They may not be. The person who's being late may not know.
Well,
they're not realising the impact, right?
Correct. Do they even realise? Do they just not care? What is it?
That's it.
And the second thing is going, okay, we want, again, we've spoken a little bit about culture.
Yeah.
But the culture that we want to create, for example, in this workplace is that we all respect timelines.
Yep.
Knowing that, of course, we're human and we're not, you're going to have one-off situations where someone's late because something's happened. That's different. It's not what I'm talking about.
It's not a pattern.
No, it's not a pattern.
We're talking about patterns, right? And I guess patterns then become, people start reading more into that. That becomes more worrying.
Yeah.
So they start going, this is how they really operate.
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. And if we're talking about leaders who lead other people and they're late, has even more impact.
Correct.
So...
Right. There's more to risk.
More to lose.
Well, that's right.
Way more to lose.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, so I've been thinking,
Yes.
You go, right, I need to have a conversation.
Sure.
Because I really need to let that person know.
What have you done? Probably more than once.
Probably more than once, right? So you might occasionally go, you're late. Everything okay? And then, it might happen again. And
it's a subtle cue, right?
Yeah, exactly right. They're not picking up on those subtle cues, on the cues, right? Anyway, so then I had an instance where I sat down with the person.
Sure.
And I addressed the issue.
Excellent.
And in all honesty, this is the hard thing sometimes because you go, easy conversation to have.
Absolutely.
Because I have a relationship with the person.
Yep.
And I can say, hey.
Yeah, you're trying to help.
I'm trying to, I generally am.
Trying to help.
Yeah, right? So you have the conversation with the person and their reaction surprised me.
Sure.
Because the response was that they thought I was being unfair.
Right.
Right?
That you might have been picking on them.
Might have been picking on them. It's a bit personal.
Yep.
And I went, wow. And mind you, I didn't get that feeling immediately.
No, you probably came away thinking it was a great chat.
That's the problem.
As we do, right?
You
told them what I think. It's been fabulous.
That was really good because I was honest.
Yeah.
I told them what they needed to hear.
Sure.
And then you walk away and you find out later. And okay, so how do you find out later? There's so many different ways that can go, but in that conversation, the person told me that they felt that I was being a bit unfair.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I find out that person really thought I was unfair because then they've spoken to someone else about it.
Of course they have.
Right? And then when you start to hear that, you start to reflect. Well, first of all, let me say, My first reaction was frustration.
Yep. Because you're just trying to help.
I'm seriously trying to help.
You're trying to make it better. You're actually trying to help them become better leaders,
Correct.
in effect, right?
Yeah.
So what happened, Suze, after you obviously, they had a bit of a problem. You wanted to help them. I'm guessing it didn't quite land the way you wanted it to
Clearly.
land.
Yep.
What did they go away and do after they obviously vented to someone else?
Yep.
What did they go away and do? Did they change their behaviour perhaps?
Look, in this instance, yes.
Yeah,
So they did change,
sure.
which was good.
They weren't as late.
They weren't as late. So, I definitely saw improvements.
For how long?
Yeah, look, I would say for the most, it's still pretty fresh.
Okay.
So I'm seeing improvements. Whether it'll last or not,
Sure. Yep.
different scenario.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. But it reminded me, Carl, of my frustration because in my head I'm going, like you said,
Can,
I thought I was doing the
Can I
right
get-
thing by you.
can I give you a tip, my friend?
Yeah.
Okay. You're working way too hard,
Yeah.
right? You're trying to help them. You're trying to save them from themselves in a weird way, from their own behaviour. You need to stop telling them and ask. You need to actually engage them far more in the problem,
Yeah.
right? Far more in their own behaviour, far more in what they're doing, and actually ask them
Yeah.
questions.
Spot on.
You need to do it because you're doing the work
Yeah.
and they're sitting there passively hearing what you're saying, maybe not even passively, maybe even in a resistant way. Maybe you're saying, I want to help you. They're not wanting that help,
No.
right? They're not liking what you're saying. And I'm not saying that that's from a really negative attitude or anything, but people generally like to come to their own version of understanding,
Yeah.
right? That's not usually by being told what to do.
Yeah. And you know what, Carl, as you share that, I go, yeah, I didn't really ask them the questions.
So you didn't ask, like, okay, how do they think that works for other people in
No.
their team,
No.
right? You didn't ask. You didn't actually engage their thinking. You
Yeah.
just told them what to do.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, when we do that with people, we get a couple of responses. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Absolutely does. People go away and do what they've got to do. Often there's compliance in that, right? That doesn't last very long.
Which
Which
I
is
get was why you
I
asked, right?
They comply for a period of time,
Yeah.
but when they get tired, they go back to their base stuff and then they're late again
Yeah.
because it doesn't really change their thinking.
And you know what? My error is that I think because I have the relationship, I thought
Well,
I just thought this will be an easy one.
and also you had your purpose,
I had
which
my purpose,
actually is to help.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but
Which is why I was so comfortable to have the conversation because I go, yeah, easy. We just
they'll know I'm trying to help,
yeah,
but they didn't see it that
no,
way, right? So, and straight away, when you start getting challenged on something, if you haven't been engaged in it, you can become resistant, and that won't help then. So, in a weird way, you have to stop working as hard, and you have to engage them more.
yeah.
The way you do that is stop telling, ask.
Ask the question.
Ask.
I can see, right? I go. My frustration was that the person didn't get my point, my purpose.
Sure.
And I can totally see how asking the questions would have I could have far more easily delivered that message by
Yeah, so
asking the questions.
I want to walk through how I would do that,
Yeah,
right? Because there's a skill to this that I want people to understand about how you ask these questions. It's not overly complicated, but actually there's a process to it, and there's a certain amount of discipline to it as a leader so that I can actually engage them
Yeah.
and not just tell. It's easier for me to tell them something than it is for me to ask them a question
Absolutely.
and then be patient enough to wait. Right?
Can we unpack that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because, people might be going, yeah, why is that harder?
Well, because I need to engage their brain. I need to engage their thinking. I need to get them to have a level of understanding. So to do that, I've got to actually drag them out, sometimes even reluctantly, right?
That's the key
Right?
part,
And in this
right?
case, maybe not conscious, but I would want them to be dragged out.
Yeah.
For me, it starts with me, like, let's go back to our behaviour. They're late to a meeting.
Yep.
They're late consistently. It's a pattern of behaviour.
Yep.
There's implications for that in terms of how people are going to see them when they then have to have a conversation with their team about deadlines and they're always late themselves. It's where's your mandate? right? People go, you're always late, mate. Why should we care,
Yeah.
right? So, and they're not seeing that,
No.
right? And that's going to affect their ability to lead the purpose of the organisation, their
Correct.
ability to get the job done.
Yeah.
So that matters.
Yeah.
Probably matters to them as well.
Yeah.
I actually think the other person, they care about their purpose and our purpose. There's alignment, even though they're not understanding that. So before I ask any questions at all, I go back to, so my goal in this is to be really clear about trying to help the person understand how other people may be seeing their behaviour.
Yeah. I think that's key, Carl, because this is why I thought it would be an easy conversation, because the person's purpose is generally like our purposes are aligned.
Totally.
And
Right.
which is why I know really
Well, you thought it would be so easy.
Easy.
So before I even start, I've got clarity about what I'm trying to achieve and why I'm doing it, because that will then come across in my questioning,
Yeah.
right? Then after I do that, I go back to when I start to think about the questions, I want to bring back to the one thing that we all hang on to, which is our purpose as an organisation.
Yeah.
Meeting the demands of our clients or doing what we've got to do for other people. That's the purpose that I want to bring the person I'm talking to
Yeah.
and bring them in alignment with.
So far, I think I had those two things.
Sure.
I think I had clarity
Yes.
in terms of, why I needed to have this conversation. And I think the other thing was I knew that I had to bring it back to purpose,
Yes.
right? I needed that person to see that what they were doing wasn't actually aligned to that person's purpose.
And you said that,
I said
but you
it.
didn't ask that.
Correct. So now let's go to step 3.
So you said this isn't aligned with your purpose, but
Yep.
you didn't say how is being late aligned to what you want people to see.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, how do you think other people are going to see that?
Yeah.
How do you think the rest of your team is going to see you turning up late to the meeting?
Yeah. It's those questions that,
Does that match what your purpose is as a leader of the team? Does that actually match? So for me, that's the rub, right? Because we both know that person wants to lead effectively. They're not doing that with their own behaviour. It doesn't match. So rather than saying that, I want to ask that. I want them to have to answer that, not me.
Yeah.
Because now, as soon as they have to answer the question, Suze, their brain is then engaged in the question. Their brain is then engaged in the whole problem.
And when I reflect on that, Carl, I go, okay, if I were to have that conversation, and of course, I can, now in hindsight, I go, yeah, I didn't really get them to own any of that because I didn't ask.
Right.
I didn't ask them the questions, right? But I go, now that I reflect on it, I go, I should have asked those questions because their response is going to help me understand where their thinking
Correct.
is at, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So their answer might be, well, I've got to look after my dog. There might be proper issues that are getting in the way of them getting there in time. Like
Correct.
I
There
don't
could
know,
be.
right?
Yep.
That might be totally true, but it's still impacting on their ability to lead.
Yep.
Right? The reasoning might be purely justified, but they need to see the impact of that in terms of their own leadership and how it isn't matching their purpose or the purpose of the organisation. So for me, that's that awareness raising that we're trying to do, not by telling them, but by asking,
Yeah.
right? Getting them to connect for themselves. Because for buy-in, I need people to be thinking. I need to help them think in a certain way. That's what this is all about.
And I guess, like again, when I reflect back on that conversation,
Yeah.
I go, here I am high-fiving myself,
Sure.
going, yeah, great, I've had a great conversation.
Exactly.
But at no point did because I didn't ask the questions, at no point did I check that person's understanding.
So one of the things that happens as leaders is we're really, really good at what I like to call monologues, not dialogues. Right? We are
That's
so
so
good
true.
at just
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
We think it landed, it was the best presentation, it
Yeah.
was the best whatever.
I nailed it, I got my message across.
Nothing changes.
Yeah.
And maybe not.
Yeah. Or in my case, I hear that feedback.
Well, it's
around
even
here
worse.
And I went,
Wait a minute.
what did I miss here? Yeah.
Right? So and we do this all the time,
Yeah.
and we work so hard at it.
Yeah.
It's not you worked hard at that.
Yeah, I
Right?
thought I did. Yeah.
But it's not productive.
Yeah.
So we've got to actually go, I need to slow down. And so
Yeah.
part of the questioning part is slowing down.
Yeah.
It proper is, you've got to slow down, be really clear. I want them to make the adjustment. I want them to buy into the problem.
So when you talk about slowing down in terms of asking the questions, I mean, there's a real skill in that. I mean, if you ask someone the question, you've got to be comfortable sitting in the discomfort of the silence.
Yep. What if they don't say anything? What if
yeah.
they give you nothing?
Correct.
So
Correct.
you sit there and say,
Then it's a monologue again.
well,
Yeah.
okay, so it can't be.
Yeah.
So,
But as leaders, the problem, Carl, is that because we are so uncomfortable sitting in that silence, at times we get that verbal diarrhea again,
Sure.
and we're like, oh, I need to feel it, so I'm going to tell you.
try not to.
Yeah, but it's harder said than done, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it totally is. Again, I want to engage that person. I ask the question, how do you think that that's going to look to your team?
Mm-hmm.
How does that match your purpose or your role?
Mm-hmm.
Let's connect those two things. When I ask the question, I have to wait for them to answer. Right? Now, in some cases, this could be a Mexican standoff, even though neither of us are Mexicans.
It's so true.
So it's like literally waiting for someone to
Yeah.
blink. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that would have been happening in your case because
Yeah,
but
no.
in some cases, the people are going, hang on a minute, is this a test? Can I get it right? Like,
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I think as a beginning leader, I think when I first started doing this, you don't have many runs on the board, you don't have
Yep.
the practice. It is the fear of, but what if they don't say anything?
correct.
You do generally
Totally
have
right.
that fear, right?
Fear of silence.
Yeah.
I think it's called.
Yes, fear of
You're
silence.
Afraid
Yeah.
of the silence. Oh, this is awkward. So
They're not responding to my questions.
when, as part of the preparation, be ready for the silence if it happens.
Yeah.
Be ready for the answer if you get one, and then but bring it back to the purpose. Right? Bring it. Okay, how does that match what we're trying to achieve? How does that match your role, depending on what they say? But if they give you nothing, and it really starts to become quite a long Mexican standoff, awkward and uncomfortable, my advice would be, even for the rookies out there, even for the
Yeah.
people that aren't experienced, to say, okay, we need to come back to this. We need to look. This is really important. It really matters that we can work through why you're late to meetings or whatever. We can resolve this problem. We need to come back to it because it matters in terms of how we look as an organisation. So you put on the table the actual problem that you want to,
Yeah.
purpose-based stuff.
I mean, I love when you go to those questions, Carl, when you think about it. Like when we talk, when you really think about the questions you want to ask. So in this case, how do you think people look at you
Yeah.
when you're arriving late,
Correct.
regularly or whatever? I love taking it back to the questions, because in a sense, what we're saying is that we're going to wait for the answer to come from you.
Correct.
So you're going to own that.
Absolutely right.
And that's hard to argue with because it's coming from the person.
Okay, and this is the whole thing about buy-in. I'm not in control of their buy-in. People have to choose to buy in or become committed. You can't make them. So my questioning is aimed at helping them do that. My questioning is helping them to understand where I want them to be buying in, but I can't make them do it. So I have to be patient enough to ask my question, stop telling and ask, ask the question, and then wait for the response.
Yeah, agree.
And
So, okay, I've got a question.
of course,
Because you can have that conversation,
yep,
but the person may still feel that it's not really an issue because it
Sure.
was only a few minutes.
sure.
Or, it's not really a big deal. I'm getting through whatever it is I need to get through.
Yep.
Okay. What would your advice be in situations like that?
So, for me, part of leadership isn't about how people see themselves. It's about an awareness of how other people are seeing them. So, and again, this is the awareness raising that I'm trying to make, and this is how other people are seeing their behaviour, right? And the implications of it in terms of those people.
Yeah.
Now, I can't make them agree with me. I can't make people agree with me.
Because we're not in control of that.
Exactly right. So, but I am still going to aim for as much as I can, helping them have an awareness of that.
Yeah.
So I will hopefully, again, and this is, so if someone challenged that, and then I would then try to find evidence of how other people are responding to them. So they are starting to then, people roll their eyes. People look at their watches.
Yeah.
People sigh when you walk in the room. These are things that people do when they're annoyed by other people's behaviour.
And that's harder to wiggle away from, isn't it? Because
Totally right.
there's accountability there.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Because your colleagues or other people, it's not just this is my opinion or this is my point of view. this is how it's been received.
It's the impact, right?
Yeah.
It's the impact of it. Now, again, they don't have to agree with my pieces of evidence even.
Yeah.
They don't have to agree with what I'm saying. But I want them to know. I want them to understand the implications. What I also know is that later on down the track, it's going to be hard for them to lead. Right? Because they're not leading by example. They're not walking the talk. They're creating a problem for themselves with their own team where, people are going to start questioning their own purpose and questioning how committed they are to it. Because it's rude when you're late to stuff.
Yeah.
It shows that you're not valuing it. There's all sorts of things in that. And I would then perhaps, again, maybe if they're not agreeing, I'd say, well, maybe how did you feel when someone else was late to a meeting?
Yeah.
Right? So try to maneuver the questioning into change their view. It's not them being late, someone else being late. So how would you see that if they were late? What would you think about that? Because they maybe can't see their own behaviour, but maybe they can see it through someone else's.
Else, yeah.
Right? So these are the things I want to do. Evidence, try to put them in someone else's shoes, but you can't make them agree with you.
Yeah.
So if they don't, they don't. All I know is there's going to be implications.
Yeah.
Right. So and that's sort of like part of why we're doing this. Again, what I found has happened in the past is usually I have these conversations, and this might happen with you too, Suze, where you have the conversation, the person initially gets quite annoyed / resistant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They go away, they come back however long later, and they sometimes thank you for it.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Because they have actually taken it on board, even though their initial thing was resistance.
And they appear in the moment, like you say, to be a bit resistant.
Yeah, they come back and go, right, so here it is. Now, I've thought about what you said.
Yeah.
I was resistant, but this is how I now am.
Yeah.
And again, it's quicker if I can do it the questioning way. It's more effective if I can do it the questioning way. But in my experience, people generally like to do their jobs well.
And I think, Carl, something about that, it's interesting because I guess what we're focusing now is on how the person receives that feedback.
Yeah.
I find... a lot of people, in my experience dealing with a few things, I find that a lot of people kind of really need that processing time.
Correct.
They need it to sink in. So initially, like you say, they may not appear like they're on board, or the look on their face might be like, what?
Yeah.
But you're right, they just need that processing time. They need it to land. And then somehow they trust that you were looking out for them.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, they will come back and thank you.
And it really matters then that you give them that.
Yeah.
Right? It really matters that you can slow it down with the questions that you're asking, give them time to engage with it, answer it for themselves, and process it for themselves.
Yeah.
That's the buy-in that you want. That's the commitment you want, because it's coming not from a place of compliance, but a place of absolute change thinking and understanding. Yeah. And again, about awareness of their own role, and people see them, and the implications in terms of their purpose.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to do here. And it's not even a big deal. Lateness, I mean, it is, because of its implications, but it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a very, very common thing to have occur, as you said,
right
at the beginning.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is help people to, as leaders, become smarter about how their role in the team, how people in the team see them, and then to really work with that slowly, patiently, and persistently with their questioning, but also smart by just not talking all the time.
So, okay, I want to, I haven't really reflected on this part well, but I go, I've reflected on, how I could have done that better. But why do you reckon it is in that moment? So I said, I thought I had the relationship, my purpose was clear, but why was I so presumptuous in the moment that would easily land rather than strategically thinking it
my
through?
My question for you is, how much time did you give yourself from seeing the behaviour to addressing the behaviour? So, right? So, how much time? So, here's the behaviour. It's obviously been going on for a while.
Yep.
It's a bit annoying. And annoying means now I'm not, I'm a bit energised.
Yeah.
So, it's annoying behaviour. I've seen it for a bit. How much time do I give myself? Because remember, if I'm going to ask and not tell, I need to slow down. I need to plan my questioning. So my question for you is, did you do that for yourself?
Well, when you go, how much time?
Yeah.
I've seen the behaviour for a little bit. Like we said, it's not a one-off. But I guess you're right, because the moment I went, I'm going to address it,
Sure.
I probably gave myself about 2 minutes
There you
to
go.
have that conversation.
So
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm going to
isn't it?
address it, and then I do. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to address it, and I'm going to plan how I address it.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about the questions I ask to address it. I'm going to structure that out a bit. I'm going to decide exactly my purpose. I want them to change and think. All of these things. See, addressing something isn't about changing their behaviour.
No.
Addressing something is telling them. That's an address, right? If you actually had said, I'm not going to address it, I'm going to teach it. I'm going to help them to learn something different. That would slow you down.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think about it now and I'm like, it's pace and timing, right?
Absolutely right.
And I guess my pace was just super quick.
2 minutes, you said. 2 minutes, people.
And it didn't need to be.
Probably not,
Why do you reckon I did that? Why, like...
because it annoyed you.
No, but it hadn't happened that minute. The 2 minutes I'm saying is when I just found a moment.
Sure.
And I went, you know what, I'm going to raise it now. So I hadn't planned it, as you say. Yeah, hadn't planned it. But I think, I go, why did I do that? I think it's just finding that opportunistic time.
So you took an opportunity,
Yeah.
but you didn't create an opportunity.
Yeah. Which is reactive when I think about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Totally
Well,
right.
thanks.
Sorry, mate.
Thank you.
Totally
I fulfilled my criteria.
So when you take an opportunity, that's
Yeah.
great. But if you create an opportunity, then you're more purposeful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Right.
a really good reminder.
Yeah. Slow down. Create.
Yeah. Okay. So you said before that you mentioned before that we were discussing you can't control how that person may respond or
Yep.
you know how they see it, but that doesn't mean we're giving the person an out.
Sure.
I just want to be clear. Is that
Okay.
right? So just because they don't see it doesn't mean we go, okay, you're not seeing it.
Okay. So
you know.
accountability. So we've gone from help them to try to get the understanding. We haven't wanted to agree.
Yeah.
Again, the more I've actually created this conversation and not just sorry to be reactive and take it.
Don't do that.
So the
guys.
more I
Yep.
create the opportunity rather than
Yep.
take the opportunity, the more I can create the accountability for it.
Yeah.
Right. So
And remind me, the accountability comes back to what we expect aligned to our purpose.
questioning based on that.
Yep.
So the question, remember, is based on and I want to come back to that all the time for them. Let's go back to purpose because we're all accountable to it.
Correct.
So, and that's why. So, but I don't do that well if I haven't planned it out.
Yeah.
If I just say stuff,
Yeah.
then I don't know how it's landed.
Yeah.
I haven't checked for understanding.
That's key.
I haven't done any of those things that can then make them accountable
that's what I did,
for.
everyone. I didn't check for understanding, so don't repeat my mistakes. But yeah, I think so like you say, really plan it out, ask those questions. But going back to what I was saying, if the person's not, well, they go, it's not a big deal, it's, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And you've given them the evidence, okay, this is what
Yep.
we're seeing. You're talking about purpose. This is not how we don't like, as an organisation or whatever, we're all committed to being here on time and so forth. But if they still don't see it, what we're basically saying is, okay, but this is what we've agreed the expectations
Correct.
are in our workplace.
Correct.
So there's no out. There's no...
So it's going to have two implications that
Yeah.
they're going to be accountable for, Suze. So one is against whatever our norms are in the organisation in terms of, for example, being on time, promptness, because it's respectful.
Yeah.
So that's fundamentally respectful behaviour, being on time.
Yep.
So there's accountability for that. But they're also going to be accountable for the fact that their team is going to struggle to follow them.
Yeah.
So the team is going to look at that behaviour and say, how on earth do we have to do this when this person here is being late to meetings, when this person here isn't showing us that respect or whatever it is, right? So that's going to make it hard to lead. And there's two areas then, isn't it? So one is about the organisational behaviour. The other is about how they're actually going to be effective as a leader. And I know that they're going to struggle with that. So when it starts to happen, I'm going to bring this conversation back. It might take a while, but when it starts happening again and they start saying, why aren't they listening to me, or why aren't they following me, or why aren't they doing what I say, I'm going to say, well, mate, when you're always late, and we've talked about this, it shows a lot of disrespect.
So I think, Carl, just to help the listeners get clarity on this, what you're referring to in my example is like a middle leader, because I'm talking to, for instance, a middle leader about this situation, and they're also leading people.
Correct.
But you may be the leader and you are leading your people. There's no middle management, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the structure of the conversation would still be
Exactly
the same.
because it's disrespectful to the team.
Correct.
You're letting the team down, right?
Yeah.
And so, again, these are the things that it makes it hard for people to feel connected with each other when you show that.
Yeah.
It says you're not valuing them. Right? This lateness actually really, really matters. And so we have to actually help, in this case, that person you're talking to understand that. We can't make them, but they definitely will be accountable.
And again, you're saying this is what matters.
Yes.
So really, they've got to come to the table.
Okay.
Again, we can't force them, but what we're saying is this is the expectation.
Correct.
We're not lowering that.
No.
This is the expectation.
Totally right. So the expectations aren't going anywhere. They've been decided by everyone. We're all accountable to them. I can't make you do certain things. Unfortunately, we just can't. But if I want the buy-in, I want to get their thinking on board. We're still accountable for our behaviour. It just might take longer.
Yeah.
There's no rush,
Yeah.
right?
So that's been a really good process to unpack, and hopefully that's helped.
So the key thing for me, my friend,
Yes.
is stop telling them.
Yep.
Ask, create an opportunity for the conversation. Don't just take one.
Yeah.
Because the creation is the control part. The creation is the planning bit. It's less reactive, as you exactly said.
Yeah.
So we got to be smart as leaders to do that.
Yeah. This whole process, Carl, I think it puts the accountability back on that person, and that's
Sure.
what I love.
Sure.
That's
what we're aiming at.
Correct.
Yeah. As leaders, there are ways we can help with that,
Yeah.
and there are ways that we actually don't help with that. We work really, really hard sometimes, but we're not helping ourselves or them.
Yeah.
Okay, we can walk away and
Absolutely,
get a very mixed message.
Yeah.
Sort of like what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I just wanted to ask, put it to the listeners for some feedback on, the topics that we've been discussing lately. Everyone's been given amazing feedback, and some of that's been, it would be really great to break these concepts up into really explicit steps.
Sure.
So we'd love feedback on whether we've nailed it today.
If we've helped you, please ask questions.
If we really unpack that explicitly, or are we, is it still like there's assumed knowledge
Sure.
that we think you should already know.
Yeah. We're hoping that actually this lands for people.
Yeah.
And that you really go away and as a leader really reflect on your own processes.
Yeah.
And have a practice at the things we're talking about.
Yeah.
Please ask us questions.
Yes, give us the feedback. We'd love to hear how we're going.
Thank you so much.